right, reading today. I need you to get out your chapter 10 questions, which should be in your packet. You were to read chapter 10 yesterday. I'm going to get those out. All right. First things first.
We're gonna do an inference for it. I'm going to swap this around. I can't find it. And he said he has a phone. That's how right now.
All right. First thing I want to inform you about, it was not on the updates. I have it on there for tomorrow's updates. In Where the Red Fern Grows folder, you will find an extra credit activity kind of down here quite a ways. Oh, there it is. Reading extra credit, Red Fern. So this is an extra credit assignment. If you want extra credit in reading, this is it for this 9 weeks. So when you click on it, it gives you some instructions. There's a worksheet here you're going to look at. It's a tic-tac-toe kind of worksheet. So you're going to pick 3 different activities that you want to complete. And when you're doing tic-tac-toe, they have to be in a row, right?
Yeah.
So you could do down the center this way, diagonal. You could go that way, across the middle. You could do the side, down the center. But you can't pick one that's here, here, and then there, and then way down here. Okay, they're supposed to be in a row. You have to complete 3 of them for extra credit. All 3 have to be completed in order for me to give you any kind of extra credit. And keep in mind, like the last extra credit assignment, I'm not looking for 1 or 2 sentences. I'm looking for your best effort. Okay, most of these are going to require you to do a good paragraph, 5 to 7 sentences for it to be fully complete. Okay, if I don't see that you put some effort into it, then I'm not going to give you extra credit. All right? This is not a, oh, I'm going to hurry up, pick 3, write a sentence, and be done. That's not how extra credit works. I'm still looking for the good effort and the good quality work that you are capable of. This is your extra credit, and it is due February 1st. Reading extra credit, it's in the folder for Where the Red Fern Grows. Okay?
Yeah.
So there is that. Now, on to today's. You read chapter 10 yesterday, so you had the chapter 10 questions to answer. Let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. So we're going to go over these chapter 10 questions first, and we're going to talk about a few things before I give you your assignment for today. Chapter 10, which is Roman numeral X. Okay, let's look at our first question. Why did Mama end up wishing she didn't make the coonskin cap for Billy? John?
He went coon crazy.
Yeah, she said he went coon crazy, right? He spent all of his evenings hunting. That was all he wanted to do. That was all he did. Unless, what kept him from doing, what kept him from it?
Bad weather.
Right, the only thing that would keep him from going hunting was bad weather. Okay, number 2. Why did Billy stretch his coon hides up on the side of the smokehouse facing the road? Josh?
So everybody in the country could see them.
Right, he wanted everybody to see him, right? He was very proud of those. Okay, number 3, what was happening to the money Billy earned? Brendan?
He gave it to his father.
Yeah, his dad would take it, and then from there, he really didn't know, right? He assumed Dad was saving it up for something, but was he concerned about that money?
No. He was
No.
just proud that he got it.
All he cared about was that he had those dogs, right? He was happy as could be. The money didn't matter to him at that point. Why didn't Billy like taking his dogs to the store? Why didn't he like taking them? Jackson? Yeah, all the other dogs were trying to jump on. I think they mentioned Dan, right?
Yeah.
They kind of left Ann alone, but for whatever reason, Dan kind of attracted those other dogs, and they maybe wanted to fight him, or he just didn't want them hurt, right? So he didn't want to take them, even though those dogs were pretty quick about figuring out where it was at, weren't they? What did Grandpa get sharp about? Adam? Yeah, he records all of Billy's furs, right, when he brings them in. And so Billy asked him about it, and he kind of got short with them, right? So Billy's like, I left it alone. I didn't ask any further. I really have no idea what he was keeping track of or what he was writing down. Okay, why did Billy go to the store on Saturdays? Oh, John? Yeah, all the hunters were there, right? So he would go to the store on Saturdays purposely. Why did he want to go when the hunters were there? Claire? Why did he want to go when the hunters were there on Sunday? Sean, why?
Because when he wanted to go.
Yeah, why did he want to go?
He wanted to share his stories with the other hunters and hear their stories.
Right, he wanted to hear their stories, but he wanted to share his stories, right? About his dogs and how fabulous they are at catching these coons. So he enjoyed that, right? He was part of the group now. He used to be kind of an outsider, right? Looking in. Now he's right in the middle of it, telling his own stories. And he thinks that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What did some of the hunters say about Anne? Nick?
Because he said that she was like really smart and they didn't believe him.
Yeah, they didn't believe some of the stuff that Billy was saying about Anne and how smart she was. What was strange about Dan? Adam? Say that again?
He would only hunt with Anne and Billy.
Yep, he would only hunt with Anne, right? Billy tried to take him by himself, just Dan, because I think Anne did something to her paws, right? Little Anne hurt her paws or something, so he tried to keep her from hunting. Well, he took old Dan out. Where did he end up? He's calling him and calling him and calling him, and he's not coming. He can't hear him. Where did he go?
Back to,
Where'd he go, Kenny?
he went back to Little Ann.
Yeah, he went back and was laying in front of the corn crib where he had locked little Ann up. So old Dan did not want to hunt by himself. He wanted to be with little Ann. What number are we on here?
9.
Number 9. What did Mama sometimes ask little Ann to do? She was pretty good at it. What did she do, Claire?
She asked Little Ann to catch the chicken.
Yeah, asked little Ann to catch the chickens. Why not Dan? How come she didn't ask Dan, Claire?
Because Dan was like way too rough. He would, like, the chicken would come off with like barely any feathers.
Right, so Ann was gentle, right, and didn't mess up a single feather, where old Dan was very rough. Okay, and he kind of tore it up, and there was not much left, right, at that point. So she had little Ann do it. From in the river, what did Dan do? Ooh, Sean?
He couldn't wait to go to Little Ann by the tree by the coon, so he barked while he was in the river.
Okay. Yeah, he was trying to get over to little Ann, right, to let her know he was coming. Okay. What hole did Ann open up and why? John?
The muskrat then to get old Dan.
Yep, she heard old Dan down there, right? So she opened up this muskrat den to try and get him out, or help get him out. Okay. How do they end up getting old Dan out? Kenny?
They dig the rest of the hole out and then.
Yeah, Billy has to go get a shovel, doesn't he, and dig this hole out so they can get old Dan out. What did Billy notice about the coon that they dug out? Did he notice? Maya? Yeah, had a mangled paw, right? Said he was old, right? He had a lot of white fur, and he said the fur was good fur. Okay, what did he think happened to that coon because of the mangled paw? What did he suspect? Adam? Yes. Yeah, somebody must have trapped it, and then it kind of yanked its paw out. That sounds painful to me, and kind of mangled it all up. So this was an older coon. What mess did Dan get himself into at the Cyclone Timber? That Dan, always getting into messes. Jackson?
Got stuck in a tree.
Yeah, got stuck in a tree. And
Wait,
so Billy goes up there and gets him down, right? And then what does old Dan do? What does he keep doing, Brendan?
Keep on going up the tree.
Yeah, it keeps running up the hollow of this tree onto that limb, and Dan was afraid if the coon jumped, what was going to happen to old Dan? What was he afraid was going to happen? Nick?
He's gonna follow him.
He would jump as well, and what would happen? Because he was little, right? And he was pretty far up there in that tree. What was going to happen, Brendan?
He'd break his leg.
Yeah, he was afraid he was going to break his legs. So he finally blocked that hole with some stuff, right? Rocks and some other things, so he couldn't keep crawling back up into it. Question, Riker?
So is little Ann and big Dan old? Because
No, that's just what he called them. They're pups.
no, I mean like because you said something about how they have white hair.
That was the raccoon they caught. They caught an old raccoon, and Billy was noticing that some of the fur was white and that the fur was still good, so he assumed it was probably an older raccoon because of how white fur. Old Dan, he just calls Old Dan because that's what the name that he gave him. And then Little Ann is Little Ann because she's little. We know that, right? Okay. 14, we kind of already answered. How did Billy solve the problem in the cyclone timber? He blocks that hole so Old Dan will stop going up into that hole. All right. Other questions or thoughts on chapter 10 here before I move on? Kenny?
I was just going to say for 14, he had to climb up it to get Dan down to block it off.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He had to climb up into that tree so he could get Dan down. All right. I'm going to slide over this way. We're going to do a little review, and we're going to review this a couple of days because I'm noticing in some of the questions you're answering that require you to explain or give evidence that we're not. A lot of us are just saying because, starting our sentences with because. Or you're just giving me one-word answers. So when you have something that asks why and then tells you to explain or how do you know, you're supposed to have evidence, right? So I want to talk about inferences. What's an inference? We talked about these way back last year. I can say that because it was last year. What's an inference, Sean?
It's like an idea that you have.
Yeah, it's your idea, right? It's an answer. Okay, it's your new idea that you gathered from all of your details and those thoughts that you had. You're going to make an inference. Okay, you're going to come up with an answer. What is the most important thing about your answer? What do you have to do in order for it to be accepted as an answer? Let's put it that way. Kenny?
Explain why.
Yeah, you have to explain, right? You've got to give evidence. You have to give details from the story to help that person, in this case me, right? I'm looking at your answers and seeing what you're doing. You have to give me evidence or details that made you think that. If you can give me that information, that evidence, then there's a good chance you'll get that one correct. If you're just giving me an answer, it's not going to work. Okay, remember, we have to put that question in the answer. We need to restate the question, then give me the inference. So this part would be here. You would restate PQA, then you would say because. Because would go in here. That's your transition word to your answer. Okay? And because isn't the only one you're going to use. You could use other ones as well, but that's the most popular. Okay, I restate the question, I say because, and then I'm going to give my answer. Okay, then you're going to give me at least 2 more sentences with evidence. Remember these sentence starters we had? The text states, proof of this is, a second example, the text also states. Okay, if you go back to, I want to say it was the Fern chapter 6 worksheet. Okay, if we were to go back to that, you had one that you had to do some typing. And a lot of you just said, because this, because Billy went to the store, because Billy wanted dogs. Okay, is it a correct answer? Maybe. But it's not a complete sentence, and it didn't give me evidence. Okay? So that's what I'm looking for in those questions. Remembering to go back to this and giving me that evidence. So if I slide back over this way, I'm going to show you here your assignment for today, which is in Where the Red Fern Grows. You have 2 things you're going to do today. We're not reading a new chapter. We'll read another chapter. Actually, we'll read 2 chapters tomorrow. Your assignment today is this Fern Chapter 10 worksheet. A lot of the, let me get over here to preview, a lot of the questions that this is going to ask you will come from that worksheet we just went over. Okay? Multiple choice, if I come down here, question 3 requires you to do some typing, and it says, how do you know? It's worth 4 points. If it's worth 4 points, how many sentences should I see here?
4. At least
4. 3 maybe. 3 would be okay, but 3 to 4, maybe even 5. Okay? Just saying because he wanted to is not going to cut it. I will give you no points for that. Okay? You're going to take this question. Why did Billy like to go to the store on Saturdays? Billy liked to go to the store on Saturdays because, and you're going to tell me why. Then you're going to find evidence in the story. Things Billy said, okay, in chapter 10. Things Billy did in chapter 10. That supports why he likes to do that. So I should see 3 to 5 sentences here, okay, in order for you to get the full 4 points. If I see that you just started it with because, no points. If I just see that you wrote 2 or 3 words, no points, okay? We're forgetting. We were doing a really great job answering these questions early on, and now we're forgetting that it requires you to explain and to give evidence. I think Mrs. Bush just talked about this yesterday for your math test, didn't she? So we're both seeing the same things. Okay? Previously, we did a great job with these, and we're starting to kind of let it slide again. So I wanted to remind you. We're going to be going through some more of these again next week as well. Okay? So you have this worksheet, chapter 10 worksheet for Where the Red Fern Grows. And you have Where the Red Fern Grows vocab worksheet for 11 and 12. Okay? I'm going to pull that up. It's here on Schoology if you prefer to do it here, or you have it in your packet. Okay, so you have some words here. You're going to look these up because I know these page numbers don't necessarily do you any good. Look them up if you're not sure. Some of them you might recognize. Okay, look them up. Find a definition to match them with. Down here, same thing. Look them up. Okay, write a definition and complete those bottom ones. You have quite a few words here for 11 and 12. All right. So vocab 11 and 12, you are going to submit vocab 11 and 12, and you're going to complete and submit the Fern Chapter 10 worksheet for reading today. No additional chapters. So again, if you're behind on the reading, today is a good day to get caught up. Okay? Questions? Brendan?
So in the story The Red Fern Grows, is Papa the same as Father?
Yeah, Papa is dad, and then his grandpa he calls grandpa. Okay? Other questions? All right. Reading today. You got a few things to do.